Hey everyone! In your last class, we talked about how we were going to be making a Northern Lights landscape, and we got this far. We made our snowy hill with our chalk, we made our little glowing stars, and then we splatter painted it with white watered down paint, which is white diluted paint, to make our snow. So we're going to do our Northern Lights now, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a white piece of paper, and it can be any size. This is just like a random scrap that I had, and I'm going to rip the long side into sort of like a jagged rip. Okay, it doesn't have to look like anything in particular. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side because I want two different looks to my rips. So I have this rip and I have this rip. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place this down somewhere in my sky, okay? I'm gonna move this just a little bit, and I'm gonna take my chalks. Remember guys, you can use whatever you have at home. So this method that I'm showing you here will only work with chalk. If you don't have chalk and you're just using crayons, that's totally okay. I've got my crayons here as well. You can create the same effect just by coloring your colors up top, okay? You just won't be able to smear it and spread it kind of like I'm gonna show you right now. So what you're gonna do is take some colors, and we're not actually gonna color on the background. We're gonna color on the white paper. And chalks release a lot of pigment in the form of dust. So I'm coloring this right on the top of my white paper. And I'm gonna be doing a pattern, so I'm just coloring a few spots yellow. And then I'm gonna go in with a different color. Maybe we put some blue. And again, I'm just coloring this on my paper. I'm not on the white paper. I'm not coloring at all on the black paper right now. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of my fingers and I'm gonna spread the chalk from on my white paper to the black paper. And I'm gonna do one color at a time. So I'm doing all of my yellow. Okay, and then I'm gonna take either the same finger because it's a light color or a different finger. I guess I can do the same finger with the orange, or for the orange rather. And then I'm gonna grab a different finger for the blue. And then I'm doing the green. So now I've taken that color from my white paper and I have spread it up to my black paper, so that way when I lift, I get a really cool effect in the sky. And I'm gonna repeat that process now, but I'm going to turn it. I can overlap it a little, that's totally okay. And then I can take different colors and do the same thing. And so if you're using crayons at home or even markers, you could do the same thing, but you would just be coloring it in the sky. And that's totally okay. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing. Spread my colors from my white paper onto my black paper. And when I lift up, I'll have my next area. Okay, and then I would probably use one of the last sides that I have. Maybe do one like either up here or in the corner. They don't all have to connect, okay? So if you want to make it one continuous line, you can, or you can move them around, space them out. It's totally fine. When your Northern Lights are done, you're gonna just take some of the same colors that are in your Northern Lights and put them down here where our reflection's gonna be in our lake, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this up just a little so you can see better. And I'm just gonna take some of these colors and just very lightly, like I'm barely even pushing with the chalk. So if you're using chalk, be really, really delicate. And if you're using crayons, same thing, okay? You probably wouldn't want to use markers for this, but like crayons or color pencils would work really well because you can get a light touch with those. So all I'm doing is just literally looking at the color that's up here, and I'm just putting a little bit down below. And I'm not making it look perfect. I'm not making it look like streaks or anything. All I'm doing is just looking at the color up there and putting a little bit down here, because reflections are always a much lighter version of what we actually see. And it's less perfect. So we're not gonna see any crisp outlines. We're just seeing color down here. And I'm not trying to color every single thing. I'm just putting little hints of it. And I just want to bring in a little bit of that orange here. Okay, so now that I've got my color down here, all I'm gonna do, I look like the Hulk, I'm gonna just take my hands and I'm just going to literally rub just very, very lightly on these colors. So I'm doing all my light colors first. And then I'm gonna go back and do like my cool colors, my blues, my greens. The key is just to do one color at a time, because you don't want your colors to start looking muddy. And if you just take your hands and go across them, it's gonna get really crazy really fast, and we're not gonna be able to fix it, okay? So you can see that I just got my colors nice and light in my water. And then next week, we'll go ahead and we will paint our trees on, right, on the snow like we see here, and we'll reflect those in the water as well and get some snow on them. And then we'll be all done. All right, guys, have fun.